Hello guys, welcome to Proud Animator. This is a UI animation tutorial where we are going to learn how to animate a e-commerce UI like this in After Effects. Before starting with the animation, let's check out the UI design and how the elements of the UI are separated in each of the layers in Adobe Illustrator. So these are the UI pages. Let's take the first UI and let's separate the layers. So this is how I have separated the elements in the UI. Okay, now let's jump on to After Effects. Okay, so let's make a new composition. Let's name the composition. I'm going to give it 1920:1080 resolution. Let's keep the frame rate 30 and background color white. Let's import the Illustrator files. Okay, now I'm going to drag the first UI and put it inside the composition window. Now let's open the UI1 composition. Let's select all the layers except the screen layer and let's pre-comp it and name it UI Elements 1. Okay, now I'm going to copy this screen layer again and put it above and use this layer as a track matte. So I'm going to use it as an alpha track matte. Okay, let's open the composition again. Alright, let's change the background color to white. Now let's start with our animation. Now we are going to animate a scroll. So I'm going to select this slider layer, open the position property, put a keyframe. Now I'm going to jump onto next 30 frames and I'm going to select this and pull it above like this. And let's ease the keyframes. Let's check out. We can slow it down a bit. Now let's animate a scroll effect. So I'm going to open a new composition window. Let's name it scroll. Okay, so now I'm going to take a rounded rectangle and make a rounded rectangle over here. To make it fully rounded, press the right arrow key. Okay, now I'm going to open the rectangle, select the rectangle path, right click on it, convert it into Bezier path, put a keyframe on the path, and I'm going to jump on to next 10 frames and then again put a keyframe over here and then again jump on to next 10 frame and again put a keyframe over here. So at this point I'm going to select this vertex and pull it at this side to make it a circle. Alright, and at this point I'm going to select this keyframe and copy it and let's scale it down. So I'm going to select it. We can even use a ruler to keep in track of the center of this circle. So I'm going to select it and scale it down. Alright, and I'm also going to put a keyframe on the stroke width. At this point, let's scale down the stroke width and let's scale down the path a bit. And at this point, I'm going to again increase the stroke width when it is fully a rounded rectangle, and after 15 seconds, after 10 frames, it will again be a circle. So I'm going to move this side and pull it at this point. So I'm not worrying about the timing at the moment. If we want to speed it up, we can do it later on. So I'm just pulling the keyframe of the stroke width and putting it over here. At this particular point, it has its maximum stroke width. And again, after next 10 frames, it will burst out. So I'm going to select it. And also I'm going to put a ruler over here to keep in track of the center of this circle. So it is bursting out. So for that, I'm going to scale up this circle and give the width of the stroke 0. Okay, let's check our animation. Well, it's of course needed to speed it up, so I'm going to speed it up. Okay, yeah, right now it's looking pretty nice. So we are going to use this as a scroll effect. So at this point, I'm going to place this scroll on the screen. So let's turn on the rasterize. And I'm going to move the anchor point and put it over here. Okay, let's scale it down a bit. And I'm going to delay the keyframe by 1 frame. Alright, so it's looking pretty nice. Now, after that, you can see that this whole thing is going outside this boundary. So we are going to also apply a track matte over here as well. So I'm going to add a rectangle. Let's give a white fill or any color of fill because we are going to use it as a matte. And I'm going to pull it above and put it above this. Let's also rename it and make it matte. Let's check our animation. Perfect. So after the scroll, we are going to come over here in the search bar and let's search for shoes. So I'm going to type in shoes over here. Let's change the color. And I'm going to add a white shape over here to hide this search text. And I'm also going to trim this shape layer and just the layer will be starting from this point. Okay, now I'm going to select this text layer, go to effects and presets panel and type in typewriter, and I'm going to apply this typewriter effect. if you press U, you can see that if you select the layer and press U, then you can see that there are few keyframes over here. This is the speed of the type. Now let's speed it up and I'm going to place it over here. Okay. So when it is typing, there will be some search result will be coming outside. So this is the drop down. So I'm going to open the position property and I'm going to jump on to next 10 frame and pull it above. And I'm going to select this keyframes and reverse the keyframe order, and let's press F9 to ease it. Okay, now we are going to apply a track matte, but there are few more searches. Rather than adding more layers to it, we can simply add one layer and use the single layer as track matte for all these layers. So for that, I'm going to add one rectangle. And let's come over here, type in set matte. So I'm going to select all these drop down option 1, drop down option 2 and drop down option 3. Right click on the set matte to apply the effect. And I'm going to apply, change this to shape layer 2, or rather just rename it drop down matte. Okay. And I'm also going to open the rasterize for these layers. Yeah, now it's looking perfect. We can even speed up this animation. Alright. So right now, after typing, there is a search result. Then after typing the next letter, there would be some more search results. So let's add this one over here. And after O, let's add this search result. And let's put the keyframe over here and let's split it up. I am going to turn off the visibility for now. So at this point, here is a search result that has came named shoes. So we are going to click on this search. So we are not going to type the whole letter. Alright. So at this point, let's add a highlight. So I'm going to take a rounded rectangle and add a highlight over here. So I'm going to decrease the roundness of the corner. So for that, I'm going to press the down key on the keyboard. Now I'm going to select a sky blue color for this highlight and also decrease the opacity. Let's give it 30%. I'm going to put it above this text. Now the highlight is for a click effect. If I select this option, there would be some highlight click effect. So at this point, let's put a opacity and let's jump on to next 10 frame and put a keyframe on the opacity again. At this point, I'm going to give it 0% of opacity. Now again, jump on to next 6 frames. Put the same keyframe and then again on the next frame, I'm going to copy the initial keyframe. Let's ease it. So let's check our animation. Okay, let's speed it up a bit. Okay, it's looking pretty nice. So at this point, this whole shoe letter will be visible. Okay, and also this drop down will go up. So I'm going to open the position property, put a keyframe, and also I'm going to parent this highlight with this drop down. Okay, now I'm going to jump on to next 10 frames and pull it above. Let's easy use the keyframe. Let's check out our animation. Yeah, it's looking pretty nice. So at this point, this whole page will also just vanish and the next page will come. So at this point, I'm going to put a keyframe on the position, on the opacity as well, and same for this header image as well. Put a keyframe and put a keyframe on the opacity as well. And let's put a keyframe on this navigation bar on the position, and let's jump on to next 10 frames, and I'm going to select this one and this one, this header image and this slider, pull it above, and I'm going to give it 0% opacity, and I'm going to pull down this navigation bar. Let's easy use the keyframes. So select the keyframe and press F9. Okay, let's check out our animation from this window. Alright, so right now we are going to animate a click effect. So for a click effect, I'm going to make a new composition. Let's name it clip and keep the rest of the settings as it is. Okay, for this, I'm going to select an ellipse tool, make a circle, take the stroke, remove the fill, and I'm going to put it exactly at the center of the composition. And let's scale it down right now. And I'm going to open the scale property, put a keyframe, and also I'm going to open the stroke width, put a keyframe on stroke width as well. Press U to open the property with keyframes, and I'm going to jump on to next 10 frame. And at this point, I'm going to scale it up and give it a 0 degree of 0 in the stroke width, and let's increase the stroke width at this point. Let's give it 50. Let's check the animation. Yeah, it's looking pretty nice. So I'm going to put this effect at this point where it is clicking at this particular highlight point. So turn on the rasterize, and I'm going to put it over here at this first option. It's all right. So right now, let's bring in the next UI, the UI2. So for that, I'm going to put the UI2 composition over here. All right. So let's open the composition window, and I'm going to delete layer 1 from here. So at this point, this UI1 is vanishing. So from this particular point, let's bring in UI2. So open the position property, put a keyframe, open the opacity, put a keyframe, and let's jump on to next 10 frame, and I'm going to pull it below and give it 0% of opacity. So I'm going to select it, reverse the keyframe order, go to keyframe assistant, time reverse keyframes, and press F9 to reverse the keyframe order. Okay, so I'm going to select the keyframes and pull it below. This will be the final position. Okay, so like this, you can even animate the rest of the UIs in this e-commerce app animation. And later on in the future tutorial, we are also going to discuss how to animate this hand as well. So try it on your own, and do let me know if you have any doubt regarding any UI animations. So go try it on your own and let me know how it turned out. So that is it for this lesson. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, then make sure to hit the like button. If you have any doubt regarding the lesson, make sure to comment down below. I will be happy to help you out. And if you are here for the first time, make sure to subscribe the channel and hit the bell notification button to stay notified for all the future updates. Until then, goodbye.